Buenas noches. It's so good to be here. It's cold out here. My name is Yosimar. I am a poet, a storyteller, and I happen to be undocumented and stuff. But look, if you've never met an undocumented person, look how cute we look. So I have a couple of poems and stories for you, and I'm really excited to be here representing for where I come from and the people I come from. So these stories are about them. I'm going to start with this title, Lo que soy. This is my nature. The truth in my heart, the breath in my lungs. Yo soy the one you fear, the one that got away. Soy el único que se te fue. Yo soy el hijo que nunca será padre, el nieto que nunca será husband. I am the near and the far of earth and sky, el sol y la luna. Soy everything that's in between, entre el hombre y la mujer. Soy el ser que por tu ignorancia no quieres reconocer. I am the one you define with hate, the one that doesn't fit your labels but manages to reclaim his name. Yo soy dualidad, y aunque digas que esta es la misma canción, el mismo pinche poema, te repito que nosotros seguimos hablando de compasión. Yo soy de fuego y tierra, de mares que liberan, de muertes silenciosas. Yo soy la muerte que me deseas. I'm of destruction and reparations, of freedom in cages. I'm the bird that still sings praises, y con todas mis fuerzas te digo que tu odio me libera, porque más que espíritu enjaulado, yo soy el poder de la conciencia. You know, I grew up Baptist and stuff, so it's really like, oh my God, I'm performing at a church. So I kind of became a preacher. This poem's titled Undocumented Joy. I don't remember crossing, so I cannot tell you about the journey. Sometimes I close my eyes and imagine a pitch black sky with 1,000 little stars. I imagine a poetic crossing, my abuela's hand tugging at my arm, a rush of wind, abuelo leading the way. I imagine crossing without fear, just dreams, and my grandmother's goals to raise my brother and I into hardworking men. I cross without the trauma latching onto my body. I cross unscarred. Mis viejitos tell me how they had to stuff the four of us under the backseat of a car. Sometimes I wish I could remember, then maybe, just maybe, I would have a different story to tell. I can only tell you about how poor we were, living in that small apartment in the east side, how embarrassed I was to invite my friends over, even though we all lived like this. I can only tell you about how proud I was of my grandmother, who asked me to teach her in English. Scribbled on a refrigerator door, you can sometimes see the residue of the markers used to teach her basic words like thank you, God bless you, and you are welcome. I wish you would ask me of the memories I had before my identity became political, about the laughs, the joy, the things I love, about the way we have managed to survive. I wish you would focus on the magic that is to take the world's trash and make it into art. I wish I could tell you about the journey, but all I know is that I'm here now and I am not going anywhere. This is my home now. Dirty. Mommy used to bathe us twice a day. She used to scrub the darker parts of our bodies as to wash away poverty. She would take out her piedra pomo and scrub our elbows and our knees. She scrubbed our little hands, took the dirt beneath our fingernails, and warned us to stay clean. She would often say, ¿Qué va a decir la gente? Esa mujer muy elegante, sus mocosos bien mugrosos. She would neatly pat our hair, and when one of our stubborn little pelitos did not listen, she would place saliva in her hand and made it stay in place. She didn't want me to be like Tony, who always smelled like pee, whose mocos used to dry up under his nose. They used to call him piojoso at school because you could see the lice jumping like there was a party on his head. Más vale que no se te pegan esas costumbres, gordo. A ver, ven que hueles a chivo. She would then run to the fridge, take out a limon and slice it in half. She would rub each half under my armpit. The burning sensation would make me scream. Estate quieto, she would say. She ironed my shirts, pants, underwear, and socks. Mommy, who was left alone to raise two brown boys, dark as dirt, made sure that the rest of the world never had an excuse to call us dirty. And this is my last story. It's called Summer. And one of the interesting things about, me being undocumented, and there's so many narratives about who we are, and most of them are based on fear and very gloom and doom. But I've been undocumented since I arrived, and when I was 3 years old. I'm a 29-year-old man now. And one of the things that still keeps me going is the fact that we're still here and we still manage to create something and we still manage to wake up in a country that has no qualms telling us they don't want us, and we still wake up and choose to participate and we choose to smile and we choose to laugh. And I think it's not resilience, it's something else, and I'm still trying to discover what that word is. But if anything, in all this uncertainty, just know that undocumented people are a testament to something greater. And this is the story of my grandmother, Summer. Abuela wakes me up at 8. It is Saturday morning, and though most kids are up at this hour watching cartoons, Abuela already has breakfast served for me. The sun is already blazing and slowly taking over the streets of Eastside San Jose. After we are done drinking our café con bolillo, we head out the door, and I follow Abuela as she picks up a shopping cart that will be our helper for the day. We begin walking down the street. She pulls the shopping cart from the front as like leaning my arms pushing to the back. The wind blows her long white hair, and imagine she is a river, a powerful body of water that carried me here. She looks back at me. On her wrinkled face, there's a sweet smile. I smile back, and though I begin to get frustrated that the sun is beating against my skin, I say nothing because she has always told me to be grateful for the light of day. We stop at a big green house. The grass is neatly trimmed and the windows are crystal clear. Abuela makes her way to the back of the house, and I take a break and sit under a bush for shade. She comes back carrying a trash can filled with bottles, her small body bending as she struggles to pour them into our cart. I run to help her, but she tells me that I'm too small and I might get hurt. I watch her as we go from house to house, repeating this routine, the sun increasing in its intensity. The houses on this block are beautifully painted, surrounded by rose bushes. In the silence they take over the street, I imagine what it must be like to live in a place where there's no noise, where everything rests in its proper place. I begin to dream of the day in which to be old enough to buy a house. I want a big room for my abuelitos, one for my brother and one for me. As we continue walking, I see kids playing in the front yards. They pass the ball around, and as soon as they take a look at me, they stop and stare. Their eyes look at me like I'm something strange. By this point, our cart is filled with so many bottles that the rattling takes over the street. Abuela pulls the cart with force, and for some reason, I freeze. A slow fire begins to burn in the pit of my belly, and the blazing sun helps it turn into rage. Out of nowhere, I get mad. I want to stop pushing this stupid cart and run home. My mind begins to fill up with all these questions I know are impolite to ask. Abuela turns back, sees me standing there. She shouts, "Gordo, apúrate." I look back at her. And she can see the anger in my eyes. She knows this rage. She knows this fire. She stops pushing the shopping cart and walks towards me. ¿Qué tienes, mijo? I ask her, why don't you have a real job? Why do we always have to come and look through people's trash cans? Why can't we have a house? She wipes the sweat from her brow, rests her hand on her waist. She looks down at me. Pues mira, mijo, ya no estamos en México. Las cosas son diferentes aquí. Yo estoy muy vieja para entender muchas cosas. No tengo tu inteligencia, pero yo sé que no siempre vamos a tener que trabajar así. I look back at her, her dark skin shining against the sun. I want to be a big tree and have my shadow protect her from these feelings of shame. Big tears begin to well up in my eyes, and I become mad at myself for being mad at her. She grabs my hand. Ándale, ya vámonos. Cuando vendamos estas botellas, te voy a comprar algo. We walk back toward the cart and begin to push again. Our rattling presence echoes through the silent neighborhood. Muchas gracias.